If you want your motorcycle to last for decades, the next few minutes could save you thousands in repairs. Most riders ignore these daily habits, and their bikes pay the price. Stick with me until the end, because number 1 is the habit that keeps every machine alive. Number 13, exercise your clutch and throttle cables. Every time you twist the throttle or pull the clutch, you're relying on a thin cable to respond instantly. Most riders take these connections for granted, until the day they seize, snap, or leave them stranded in traffic. Unlike tires or oil, cables don't announce their wear loudly. They fray quietly inside the sheath, stiffen with rust, or dry out from lack of lubrication. A daily habit of exercising and inspecting them not only keeps the bike responsive, but also prevents the kind of sudden failure that turns a smooth ride into a roadside nightmare. The habit is simple. Before rolling out, twist the throttle fully open and let it snap back to closed. Do this a few times while listening and feeling for smooth return. A sticky or sluggish response means dirt, lack of lube, or early cable wear. Next, squeeze the clutch lever repeatedly. It should move smoothly and return with even tension. If it feels gritty, heavy, or inconsistent, that's your signal to inspect and service it before it becomes a bigger issue. Why does this matter? Because your throttle and clutch are not just conveniences, they're your lifelines. A throttle that sticks open can cause panic at the worst moment. A clutch that fails leaves you struggling to shift or stop smoothly, putting stress on gears and endangering you in traffic. Catching these problems in their earliest stage is the difference between a quick adjustment at home and an expensive tow miles from safety. Once your cables are moving freely, the next place to focus is even more vital: the lifeblood of the engine itself. Because while controls keep you connected to the bike, oil keeps the entire machine alive. If you're getting value already, give this video a like and drop a comment sharing your own daily habit that keeps your motorcycle alive. Number 12, inspect your oil before every ride. An engine without proper oil is like a heart without blood. Sooner or later, it stops. Too many riders make the mistake of assuming that once oil is changed, it can be forgotten until the next service interval. In truth, heat cycles, extended storage, and long rides all influence oil level and quality more than many realize. That is why taking a moment to inspect it before every ride is one of the most important habits a rider can adopt. Checking oil daily is less about topping it off and more about reading what the fluid tells you. If it is dark, burnt, or full of particles, the engine is sending a warning. If the level drops quickly, a leak or excessive consumption is at play. Ignoring either can lead to catastrophic failure that no extended warranty will cover. By wiping the dipstick, measuring the level, and scanning for changes, a rider gains control over the machine's future. The small investment of time each morning provides an early warning system that can prevent thousands of dollars in repair bills and keep the motorcycle on the road instead of stranded in a garage. This habit also builds a connection between rider and machine. A motorcycle that is inspected daily becomes familiar, and the rider learns to notice the smallest changes before they turn into real problems. Just as a seasoned mechanic can hear trouble in an engine note, a dedicated rider can see it in the oil. That awareness creates confidence, reliability, and peace of mind on long rides. Respecting this simple ritual ensures the road ahead remains smooth, powerful, and lasting for decades. Respect starts with routine, but routine gets easier with the right kit. We've put together trusted accessories and tools every rider should keep in the garage. Full list is in the description. Number 11, top off and flush coolant regularly. Heat is the silent killer of motorcycles, and coolant is the shield that stands in its way. Riders often overlook coolant because it is not as visible as oil or as immediate as tire pressure, but ignoring it is a slow path to engine wear, warped gaskets, and costly breakdowns. Coolant is the lifeblood of a liquid-cooled motor, and just like any fluid, it degrades with time, heat cycles, and contamination. Making it part of a daily routine to check the level before riding and committing to a full flush at regular intervals ensures the motor never runs hotter than it should. The act of topping off coolant is more than preventing overheating. It is about maintaining balance within the system. When coolant drops below the recommended level, the engine begins to operate at higher temperatures, oil thins out faster, and power delivery suffers. In extreme cases, riders risk cracking heads or seizing the motor altogether. A quick glance at the reservoir before firing up the bike tells you immediately if attention is needed. The flush, while less frequent, is equally critical. Old coolant turns acidic, corrodes passages, and eats away at seals from the inside. Replacing it on schedule ensures every ride begins with a stable foundation. This habit does more than protect the motor. It safeguards every ride. A rider who respects coolant knows that reliability is earned through vigilance, not luck. Checking it daily builds confidence that the machine is ready for the open road, whether it is a short commute or a cross-country haul. In the long run, the simple ritual of topping off and flushing coolant is the difference between a motorcycle that feels tired and one that delivers strength mile after mile, year after year. Number 10. Keep your battery charged and clean. A strong machine is worthless if it cannot wake up, and that spark begins with the battery. Too many riders forget that a battery is a living component, slowly discharging even when the motorcycle is parked. When weeks go by without attention, the charge drops low, plates begin to sulfate, and the battery loses strength permanently. Keeping it healthy is not complicated, but it does require daily awareness and consistent care. A battery that is charged and clean ensures the motorcycle fires up every single time, no matter the weather or the season. Corrosion on the terminals is one of the most common issues that develops when a battery is ignored. Even a thin layer of white buildup is enough to disrupt flow and cause hesitation when hitting the starter button. Cleaning those connections with a brush and applying a protective layer of dielectric grease keeps the current strong. A battery tender is another valuable ally, especially for riders who only bring their machines out on weekends or during the warmer months. Plugging in after each ride guarantees that the battery remains topped off instead of slowly draining. A strong charge also supports the entire electrical system, from lights and signals to navigation and audio units, making every feature reliable instead of temperamental. A weak or dirty battery is not just an inconvenience, it is a potential safety hazard. Struggling to start in a dark parking lot, losing signal lights in traffic, or facing a dead battery miles from home are all scenarios that can be avoided by embracing this habit. A few seconds of inspection each day builds confidence that the motorcycle is ready to respond instantly. Reliability begins with power, and reliability is what keeps a machine truly timeless. Number 9. Test your brakes. Every ride, power means nothing without control, and control is proven the moment you squeeze the lever. The truth is that no matter how much horsepower or torque a machine carries, it is useless without dependable stopping power. Brakes wear down gradually, which makes it easy for riders to miss the warning signs until it is too late. That is why a daily brake test before heading out is one of the smartest habits any rider can develop. A firm squeeze of the front lever, a gentle press of the rear pedal, and a few feet of slow rolling will immediately tell you if the machine is ready for the road. This habit is about more than just feeling confident at the first stop sign. Pads, lines, and rotors all suffer wear that builds over time. Fluid levels drop slowly and can become spongy if air works its way into the system. Left unchecked, the result is reduced bite, longer stopping distances, and eventually total brake failure. The daily test reveals these problems early. When you notice changes in lever feel or hear scraping noises, it is a clear sign that pads are thinning or discs are worn. Acting on these warnings prevents dangerous situations and saves money compared to repairing a system that has been pushed too far. Daily testing also gives peace of mind. Every rider knows the uneasy feeling of approaching heavy traffic or a steep hill and questioning whether the brakes will hold. By taking a moment before every ride to confirm that both ends are responsive, you remove doubt and ride with confidence. Safety, longevity, and control all depend on stopping as strongly as you accelerate. Brakes are the lifeline of every motorcycle, and they deserve respect every single day. Number 8. lube and adjust your chain or belt. Every ounce of torque you unleash rides through one link, the chain or the belt that drives it. Every time the throttle is twisted, torque is transferred across that drive system, and if it is neglected, wear comes quickly. Dust, grit, and moisture work their way into links or fibers, breaking them down over time. Riders who fail to maintain this connection risk sudden loss of power, uneven handling, and in the worst cases, a complete breakdown miles from home. A daily habit of inspection, lubrication, and proper adjustment guarantees that the drive system remains dependable, smooth, and long-lasting. Chains demand lubrication because each link must flex freely without grinding against the sprocket. A dry chain wears both itself and the sprocket teeth, leading to costly replacement far earlier than necessary. A few sprays of high-quality lube applied after rides allow the liquid to settle in while the chain is warm, sealing out moisture and preventing rust. Belts, though often cleaner and quieter, require careful adjustment. Too loose, and they slip, robbing the motorcycle of power. Too tight, and they strain bearings and shafts, creating long-term mechanical issues that could have been avoided with a simple check. Either system responds best when treated with consistency and respect. The habit is not just about extending the life of the motorcycle, it is also about protecting the rider. A neglected chain that snaps under power can whip around violently, damaging parts or injuring the leg of the man holding the bars. A frayed or cracked belt can fail suddenly, leaving the motorcycle stranded. By running your eyes and hands over the drive system every day, you build confidence in your machine. Smooth power delivery and lasting reliability both begin with this simple, essential ritual. Number 7. Warm up the engine properly. Cold steel and thick oil are a cruel mix, and only patience brings harmony to the motor. Cold metal parts expand at different rates. Oil is still thick and slow-moving, and tolerances inside the motor have not yet settled. This is why making a habit of warming up the engine before every ride is a key step in ensuring longevity. Riders who treat this ritual with respect are rewarded with smoother performance, longer engine life, and confidence that the machine is always operating at its best. Oil is the lifeblood of any motorcycle, and when the engine is cold, it takes several seconds to circulate fully through bearings, camshafts, and pistons. Allowing the engine to idle briefly gives the oil a chance to reach every surface. It also helps the rider listen for any unusual noises that could signal a problem before leaving the driveway. Once rolling, keeping throttle inputs gentle for the first few miles allows the machine to reach full operating temperature without stress. This combination of idle and easy riding not only protects the motor, but also benefits the transmission, clutch, and final drive, all of which rely on warmed, flowing oil to function properly. Warming up is not about wasting time or fuel. It is about creating conditions where every component operates in harmony. The extra minute spent letting the engine breathe saves hours of frustration and thousands of dollars in repairs down the road. A well-cared-for motorcycle responds with loyalty, delivering steady power mile after mile. By respecting the process of warm-up, a rider lays the foundation for a machine that feels strong, dependable, and alive for decades to come. Number 6. Scan for leaks. Every morning, a drop on the garage floor may look small, but it can speak louder than any warning light. Overnight is when seals cool, gaskets relax, and lines show their truth. That is why a deliberate walk around each morning pays off. Look beneath the motor and along the frame rails for spots. Check the fork legs, the rear shock, and the area near the final drive. Sweep your eyes across the brake calipers and along every hose. If something glistens where it should be dry, you just caught a problem early. Not all leaks shout, most whisper. Oil leaves a dark halo on concrete. Coolant dries to a sweet-smelling crust near the reservoir or a hose clamp. Fuel evaporates but leaves a stain and a varnish smell. Brake fluid feels slick between your fingers and can strip paint, so treat any wetness near the master cylinder or line fittings as urgent. A clean shop floor, a light under the chassis, and a white paper towel are tools. Set the towel under the bike overnight, then read carefully the mark in the morning to see what moved and from where. Finding a leak is only step one. Responding is what saves engines and wallets. Tighten the clamp that walked loose. Replace a cracked line before it bursts on the highway. Top off what is low, but never stop there. Fix the source. Log each find in a notebook so patterns cannot hide. The habit takes a minute, yet it spares hours on the shoulder. A dry machine runs cooler, brakes stronger, and inspires calm. Start every day on clean concrete and ride with confidence and purpose. Number 5. Clean and oil the air filter. Engines breathe just like men, and dirty air will choke them long before their time. Dust, grit, and debris from the road work their way into the intake system every single time the throttle is open. The first and only line of defense is the air filter, and that small piece of equipment often gets ignored until it is clogged beyond recognition. Making a habit of cleaning and oiling the filter protects the cylinders, preserves horsepower, and ensures that fuel burns cleanly for maximum efficiency. It is one of the simplest tasks a rider can perform, yet it has one of the largest payoffs in longevity. An air filter that is left dirty does more than just cut performance. Restricted airflow creates a rich fuel mixture that wastes gas, fouls spark plugs, and leaves carbon deposits on valves and pistons. Over time, the motorcycle feels sluggish, runs hotter, and begins to lose the sharp edge that once defined it. On the other hand, a clean and properly oiled filter allows steady airflow that matches fuel delivery perfectly. Combustion becomes more efficient, throttle response improves, and the motor breathes freely. Oiling the filter is just as critical as cleaning it because the tacky surface traps fine particles that would otherwise slip into the intake. Without that step, cleaning alone is not enough. The habit should be routine. After dusty rides or long highway stretches, take a few minutes to inspect the filter. Wash, dry, and reapply oil as needed. This ritual not only protects the engine, but also strengthens the connection between rider and machine. Knowing the engine is breathing clean builds confidence with every mile. Respecting the air filter is respecting the life of the motorcycle itself. Number 4. Tighten bolts and fasteners. Vibration never rests, and even the smallest bolt can decide the fate of your ride. Yet all of that engineering depends on something simple: bolts and fasteners staying tight. Riders often overlook this because they assume the factory torque will hold forever. The truth is that vibration, heat cycles, and daily use all conspire to loosen hardware over time. That is why scanning and tightening bolts and fasteners should be a regular part of every rider's morning ritual. It is not about paranoia, it is about preserving the machine and protecting the man in the saddle. A loose bolt can create problems far beyond the part it holds. Foot pegs that wobble reduce control. Exhaust mounts that shift rattle against the frame and crack welds. A handlebar clamp that works loose can transform a steady ride into a dangerous struggle. Even small fasteners matter: mirrors that shake out of alignment, brake levers that feel soft, or saddlebags that begin to chatter on the highway are all symptoms of neglect. Each of these details may seem minor on its own, but together they weaken confidence and shorten the life of the motorcycle. The process is straightforward. Keep a small torque wrench or set of hand tools close at hand. Once a week, give critical areas a proper check: bars, controls, foot pegs, brake calipers, axle nuts, and exhaust mounts. Each morning, take a quick walk around to feel for anything loose by hand. The act takes only a few minutes, but it prevents long-term damage and eliminates surprises on the road. A motorcycle that is tight and secure feels solid beneath the rider, delivering both confidence and safety. Tightening bolts and fasteners is not busy work. It is a man's way of respecting his machine and ensuring it lasts for decades. Number 3. Inspect lights and signals. You can own the road, but it means nothing if other drivers cannot see you coming. Riders often think about headlights only when the sun goes down, or notice turn signals only when another driver fails to see them. But the reality is simple. Lights are one of the first lines of defense on the road, and they must be checked every single day. A quick inspection before rolling out ensures the motorcycle is seen clearly from every angle, whether you are cruising in daylight or pushing through the dark of night. A light that fails is more than a nuisance. A dead headlamp blinds you to hazards after sundown. A burned-out brake light leaves you invisible when stopping. And missing turn signals create confusion that can cause an accident in traffic. Even auxiliary running lights matter, since they help define your presence to drivers glancing in mirrors. Moisture, vibration, and aging bulbs all play a role in reducing reliability. By making daily inspection part of your starting ritual, you protect yourself against the silent danger of being unseen. This habit is as critical as checking oil or testing brakes, because being noticed on the road is as vital as having the power to move. The process takes less than a minute. Activate the ignition, check high and low beams, squeeze the brake to verify both rear lights, and confirm that left and right signals flash cleanly. Do not forget the hazard function if your machine is equipped with one. If a bulb shows weakness or a lens looks fogged, address it immediately rather than waiting for failure at the worst possible moment. A motorcycle that shines bright communicates authority, presence, and safety mile after mile. Number 2, keep it clean. Grime, dust, and salt are more than ugly. They are enemies chewing away at your machine. Keeping it clean is not about vanity or polish for its own sake. It is about protection, preservation, and respect for the machine. Every ride exposes the motorcycle to dirt, dust, road grime, rain, and salt. Left alone, those elements eat away at finishes, corrode bolts, and trap moisture where it does the most harm. Washing and wiping down the machine regularly removes these threats before they become permanent scars. The ritual is as much about care as it is about pride. Cleaning also serves as one of the best inspection tools. When a rider runs a cloth over the frame, the forks, or the exhaust, he notices details that would otherwise remain hidden. A loose bolt is spotted when a rag snags. A leak becomes obvious when a fresh drip forms on polished metal. Tires show their wear when soap and water pass over every inch. What seems like a simple shine often reveals the earliest signs of trouble, giving the rider a chance to act before small issues grow into costly failures. The habit of keeping the motorcycle clean transforms a chore into a safeguard. The process does not require fancy products or endless hours. A bucket, warm water, mild soap, and a few soft brushes are enough. Dry thoroughly to prevent water spots and rust. Apply wax or protectant to keep paint and chrome sealed against the weather. Finish with a quick wipe after every ride to remove dust and bugs before they harden. Over the years, this attention prevents corrosion, preserves value, and keeps the motorcycle feeling new. A clean machine is not only sharp to the eye, it is stronger, safer, and ready for the miles ahead. If you've stuck with me this far, hit subscribe now so you never miss the habits, tips, and secrets that keep your motorcycle riding strong. Number 1, ride it regularly. A motorcycle that sits too long begins to die in silence, piece by piece, until the spirit fades. Engines are designed to circulate oil, seals are meant to stay flexible, and batteries are intended to hold steady charge through regular use. When a bike is parked for too long, fluids settle, fuel turns stale, and corrosion begins to creep into places unseen. That is why riding regularly is not only enjoyable, it is one of the most powerful habits for keeping a machine alive and strong. Every mile turns gears, keeps bearings lubricated, and ensures the motor stays ready for the next journey. Neglect comes in subtle ways. A bike that is left in a garage for weeks or months begins to lose more than just a battery charge. Tires develop flat spots under constant weight, fuel systems gum up as ethanol blends attract water, and moisture seeps into metal, creating rust on chains, bolts, and even inside cylinders. By contrast, a bike that is fired up and taken out at least once a week avoids these problems entirely. Even short rides of 20 to 30 minutes allow the engine to reach full operating temperature, burning off condensation and coating every moving part with oil. Regular riding also keeps the rider tuned in to the machine. The feel of the throttle, The sound of the motor and the response of brakes and suspension all become familiar through repetition. When something begins to change, the rider notices early and can correct it before failure strikes. In the end, motorcycles are more than possessions. They are companions built for the open road. Respecting them means keeping them alive through use. The habit of riding regularly keeps the machine fresh, the rider sharp, and the bond between both unbroken for decades. You've now got the 13 daily habits that keep a motorcycle alive for decades. The choice is yours. Ignore them, or ride stronger and longer than most ever will. If this helped, like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe right now. Your next ride deserves it, and so does your machine.